Hey guys, it's Lauren, and in this video I'm going to be telling a story time. I love videos like this. I love hearing other people's stories, so I wanted to tell a story of my own, and I kind of want to start doing these videos more often on my channel. So if you want to see more videos like this, please give this video a thumbs up so I know to film more videos like this, because I have a ton of stories, so let me just tell you. But this story that I want to tell you today actually happened when I went to California for Generation Beauty. When did I go? I think I went like 4 months ago. I did have to fly by myself when I went to California, and I was really nervous, and I do have anxiety, but I don't like to set like limitations on myself. So I was like, you know what? I got this. So on the way to California, everything went perfect. Everything went so smooth. So I got there, I found Danny, we went to the hotel. My birds are just like yapping up a storm. Every time I talk, they like to talk as well. Or when I listen to music, they like to sing to the music. But like I was saying, everything was going so perfect. Everything went perfect. I had a blast in California. So when the vacation was over and I was going back to Houston, I got an Uber to the airport. So if you're familiar with like the Uber app, you know that sometimes the prices can be higher than others. Usually if there's like an event or if it's like a lot of traffic, it's more expensive. So a tip for that, you kind of just keep refreshing it, like keep checking, and it'll go lower. So that's what I was doing, not realizing that the airport was kind of a distance from our apartment. I think it was like maybe 20-30 minutes from our apartment. So I finally got to the airport. I was in a rush. I did everything. I got my bags checked in. I was worried that it was going to be over the weight limit, but it wasn't. So everything was just going so perfect. So I went through security. I did everything that I needed to. I actually had time to go to like the bathroom and get a bottled water. And then I went to go and sit for, the plane to load. So as I'm sitting there, I'm on my phone. I had just taken a picture and posted it to Instagram, and 2 people like walk up to me, and I'm like, what the heck? They were security. So I'm like, oh my God, like what did I do wrong? And they were like, ma'am, can you come with me? And I'm like, what did I do? At first I thought they had got the wrong person because I knew I had not did anything wrong. And then I was like, well, dang, did I get in trouble? Like, did my suitcase, was it too heavy? Did they not like measure it right? And then, once they got to load it, they realized it was too heavy. Like all these things were going through my head. And then I was like, well, did I bring like something that I wasn't supposed to on the plane? Because mind you, I don't really fly a lot. So I don't, I don't know the ins and outs of flying. So I was thinking maybe I had did something wrong, like put like a makeup product on my item that wasn't supposed to be on there, or something like hairspray, I have no idea. So that's what I was thinking. And I had said, did I do something wrong? Is something wrong? They're like, oh no, it's probably a miscommunication. So I was kind of like, oh, okay. Mind you, I'm sitting in the waiting chair area with everybody else. So everybody is just like staring at me, and I'm like, what the heck? Like I was embarrassed, and I don't really get easily embarrassed. So I kind of was embarrassed, and I stood up, I got my stuff, and as I'm walking with them, the guy was like asking me questions like, what was I here for? Was I traveling? Do I live here? Like all these weird questions. So I was like, oh my God, like, do they think that I'm somebody else? Like, do they have the wrong person? Because I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. And he was being really nice. Like he was like, oh, I have friends. I told him that I was from Houston. He's like, oh, I have friends that live in Houston, and what is there like to do down there? Like I went down there and I really didn't have much stuff to do. Like just asking me questions like that. So in my head, I'm like, wow, what about he's asking me these questions because he wants to see if I'm like lying or getting something wrong or something like that. So I told him, I was like, after he was asking me questions, I'm like, did I do something wrong? And he's like, no, it's probably a miscommunication. We'll tell you when we get there. So I'm like, oh my God, where are we going, And he's like, oh, we just have to go back to the security part. So I hope I'm not leaving like details out because I tend to like talk pretty fast. So I'm hoping that I'm not leaving anything out. But it was the guy, and then it was another lady, an older lady. And she was really nice. And he's like, if you're in trouble, just blame her. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they were really nice. They weren't rude at all. And I even told them that this was my first time flying alone, and how I was embarrassed and how I was nervous, and I didn't know like what I could have done wrong. And they were just like, oh, it's probably a miscommunication. And the guy had asked me, he looked at my bags, and he's like, are all those bags yours? And I'm like, yeah, they're all mine. And I kind of looked at him like, did I forget something? Did I lose something? And I was like, no, you know, these are all mine. And I don't really remember like everything that they were talking about, because let me just be real, I was nervous, and in the back of my head I was kind of thinking of like what I could have done. Did I do something wrong? Did I leave something? You know, I didn't know. So we walked down, and at this point I only had maybe like 10 minutes before they were going to start calling to load, because I had paid to load the plane early. So I had asked the gentleman, I was like, you know, am I going to miss my plane? He's like, no, you should be okay. And he was like, what time do you load? And I said, like 10 minutes. He's like, no, you should be fine. So I'm like, oh my God, you know, what about I miss my plane? What am I gonna do? Like, I don't know what to do. So as I get to the security part, literally right when I get there, the other security guards, they look at me, they're like behind this like little desk with monitors. And right away they're like, that's not her. And then the two security guards that had brought me were like, what the heck? And they were like, that's not her, that's not the bag. And I'm like, what? So I was confused, and I kind of had that look like, okay, so can I go? Like, what's going on? And they're like, I'm so sorry, you're not the person that we were looking for. And the guy that had pulled me, you know, to bring me to security was like, I'm so sorry, I just remember seeing your pretty glasses, which I don't know what he was talking about, because my glasses were like beat up, they were like chewed up. I was wearing my like glasses because I didn't want to wear my contacts on the plane and worry about like my eyes drying. But he was like, I just remember your pretty glasses and your smile. And I'm like, oh, what the heck? Like, and I still to this day, I don't really know what went on, but what I'm thinking is that maybe someone stole a bag and they thought it was me, but it ended up not being me. And he was like, I am so sorry. And he was like, you can go. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, I just wasted all this time, and all they were like was like, I'm sorry, you know, like. And I was mad, but then I was kind of relieved that it was like fast for them to say, hey, that's the wrong girl. Then I like rushed off because I had to make my plane. And as I'm going back to the area, it was kind of a far distance. It was like a 5-minute walk, maybe even longer than that, but I walked really fast. So I was like walking really fast. My legs were killing me. They were burning, but I was like, I don't want to be late. So as I'm going back to where I was in the first place, I see that people are in line. So I'm like, oh my God, you know, did they call my section? Am I supposed to be in line too? So like I go up to the lady and I'm like, do you know if they called? And I told her my seat number. She's like, no. And then she kind of just goes back to like reading her book. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. They probably think that I did something wrong and stuff like that. So then I went back and I sat in the exact same spot that I was in before. And there was a guy who earlier had like a pair of headphones on, and he was like, you know, messing with his phone, probably listening to music. So I sat down, and as I sit down, I can kind of see him glaring at me. And I'm a type of person, I like to make friends, especially when I don't know anybody. And in a situation like that, I kind of wanted to tell somebody else, like, hey, it wasn't me, it was the wrong person. So I had said, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. And he was like, you know, what happened? And then I had told him that it was the wrong person and they thought I was someone else. And he was like, oh my God, you know, don't worry about it, it's okay. And then we kind of started talking, and other people kind of that were on this side of me, they were like, oh my God, you know, that sucks. And I'm like, yeah, it does suck, because this is like the first time that I flew alone. And I was like, the whole trip, everything was going so perfect. So I kind of expected something to go wrong, but I didn't think it would be like something as big as security. Because I don't know about y'all, but my biggest fear when I fly is like getting called by security or something, or like, because I feel like the whole process of like checking in, checking your bags, it's kind of, you know, scary in a way, especially if you're not a frequent flyer like me, because I'm not a frequent flyer. So I was kind of already scared to begin with, and then this like whole experience like kind of made me a little scared. But then I'm like, no, you know, I'm not gonna be scared, because I shouldn't be afraid to fly alone, you know. And I don't know if this was like an embarrassing story to everybody, but it was embarrassing for me, so I wanted to share it. Plus, like, I feel like even though I was embarrassed in that moment, it went away, you know? So it's not the end of the world. Like, I didn't die or anything like that. Everything was worked out. So if you've had like an embarrassing moment, or if you're ever like in a situation where you're really embarrassed and everybody's looking at you, it's okay, because they're probably not really looking at you like that. They're probably just like wanting to know what's going on, and then it's like nothing happened, because unless it's happening to you, it's really not a big deal, you know? And even though it was like an unexpected thing that happened, I still made it back to my plane in enough time, which I don't know how, but I was really thankful that I wasn't late. I didn't miss the board my plane, and the whole ride home was smooth. I made a friend. He actually like would fly like I think 5 times a week, he said, and it just made me feel more comfortable because he kind of knew what he was doing and I really didn't know what I was doing. And I had never went to the bathroom on a plane. I was always like so scared because I'm like, when's the right time to go and stuff. And then I didn't want to be on the toilet and then like something happened where they're like, buckle up your seatbelts, and I'm like stuck on the plane, you know, like in the bathroom plane. So yeah, it was really good because he actually had to go to the bathroom when I had to go to the bathroom, and he's like, yeah, you just walk down that way, because it had 2 separate bathrooms. And he was really nice. He was like, oh, well, you know, you get this one because it's closer and it's bigger than the one that's in the back. So I was like, oh, you know, thank you. And it was like everything else besides that one incident went so smooth. My whole vacation went so smooth. I had so much fun. So I mean, now I can look back and I can laugh at it, but I'm still kind of embarrassed because I'm like, what the heck? Like, why did they even think that was me? And then at the same time, I'm kind of curious to like why they thought it was me and like what actually happened, you know? Like, I wish they would have told me. But yeah, I still to this day don't really know. I kind of just assumed that maybe something was stolen, or I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, that was all for this story. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more story time videos like this, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, because that's kind of my way of knowing that y'all want to see more. But I really love you guys. I would love for you to subscribe. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can just click this little button right here if you're on a computer. And if you're not on a computer and you're on a mobile device, just go down to the little subscribe button. It should be right here, I believe. Right here, and click that and make my day. But I really love you guys so much, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye guys.